We've all been there, right? Stuck in a traffic jam. It's frustrating. But what if I told you the most dangerous traffic jam you could ever experience isn't on a highway? What if it's happening inside your own body right now? Today, we're going to break down exactly that, a critical medical event called an embolism. So let's just ask it straight up. What is the most dangerous traffic jam in the human body? I mean, when you really picture a life-threatening blockage, what comes to mind? Well, there's a specific name for it, and that's what we're here to understand. And the answer is an embolism. To put it simply, it's a blockage. You've got this thing called an embolus. It can be a solid, a liquid, or even a gas that gets loose, travels through your bloodstream, and then gets stuck, plugging up the works where it absolutely shouldn't be. Okay, so now that we've got the basic idea, it turns out that while a few different things can cause an embolism, there is one single culprit that's responsible for nearly all of them. That's right, an absolutely staggering 99% of all emboli start out as a thrombus, and that's just the fancy medical word for a blood clot. So when a piece of that clot breaks off and starts traveling, well, that's what we call a thromboembolism, and that is the main character in our story today. So why is this so incredibly dangerous? Because the consequence is something called infarction. It's a serious-sounding word for a really simple and devastating outcome. The tissue downstream from that blockage starts to die. It is literally being starved of oxygen because its supply line just got cut.
So how does this actually happen? Well, think of it as a four-step journey. First, a clot forms. Very often, this happens way down in a deep vein in your leg. Second, a piece of that clot breaks away. The second it's on the move, it's officially an embolus. Third, it hitches a ride on the superhighway of your circulatory system. And finally, its journey ends when it hits a blood vessel that's too narrow to get through. It gets lodged, and that's when you have that dangerous blockage.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because where this rogue clot ends up makes all the difference. Think of it like this. The circulatory system is a massive road network, and this clot is about to hit a major fork in the road. The path it takes determines the entire emergency. So you've got two main paths leading to two very different problems. On one side, you have a pulmonary embolism. This is the one that usually starts in the leg, travels up through the right side of the heart, and bam, gets stuck in the lungs. On the other side is a systemic embolism. This one often starts in the heart itself and gets pumped out to the rest of the body. Most of the time, it ends up in the legs, but sometimes, critically, it goes to the brain. Let's just focus on the lungs for a minute. The size of the clot is everything. If it's a massive one, what's sometimes called a saddle embolus, it can block the main artery to the lungs and cause sudden death. A medium one might cause bleeding in the lungs. And if you get a whole bunch of tiny little ones over time, that can lead to high blood pressure in your lungs, a really serious condition called pulmonary hypertension. But okay, we've been so focused on that 99% on the blood clots. What about that other 1%? This is where the story takes a bit of a plot twist. It turns out blood clots are not the only things that can cause one of these dangerous jams. Get this, these rare emboli can be solid, liquid, or even a gas. You heard me right. Besides clots, you could have solid blockages from things like tumor fragments or bone marrow. Liquid ones can be caused by fat droplets. And yes, even something as simple as air bubbles can get into your bloodstream and create a life-threatening traffic jam. I mean, a fat embolism, how does that even happen, right? Well, if you have a severe fracture of a long bone, like your femur, tiny fat globules from the bone marrow can actually escape into your bloodstream and cause a blockage. It's a known risk with severe trauma and even some types of surgery. And an air embolism is exactly what it sounds like. Air gets into the bloodstream where it absolutely does not belong, often from an injury or during a medical procedure. And here's the really scary part, it doesn't take much to be dangerous. As little as 40 milliliters of air, that is less than what's in a double shot glass, can create a very, very serious problem. So whether it's a blood clot, a fat droplet, or just an air bubble, we've seen that a lot of different things can cause this dangerous internal gridlock. But it all comes down to this same fundamental critical problem. You know what actually happens in the end? The clinical effects? It really all hinges on a few key things. How big is the vessel that got blocked? Does your body have any side roads or collateral circulation to get blood around the blockage? And frankly, how sensitive is that particular tissue to being starved of oxygen? But here's the crucial point. This is the single most important takeaway. It doesn't matter what the embolus is made of. The end result is exactly the same. It's a dam. It stops the flow of blood. And when that flow stops, the tissues downstream are starved of the oxygen they need to survive. It's as simple and as serious as that.
So I'll leave you with this image. Our circulatory system is a river of life, flowing inside us every single second of every day. An embolism is what happens when a dam appears on that river, without any warning at all. It's a powerful reminder of just how fragile that internal flow really is. Thanks for joining me for this explain.